Hi there, Rob Shanks here from injuryfitpro.com, and go to imaging. So you asked for it, here it is. Several people asked me to do a video on disc injuries and what's one of the best ways to help disc injuries. Okay, so disc injuries in the spine, so slip discs, torn discs, that sort of thing, arguably one of the most common causes of lower back pain. Now, if we were looking at doing exercises for back pain, particularly disc back pain, people want to know what are the best exercises and often want to break it down into what may be the best exercise. We're looking at the lower back, okay, so this pink section. And the discs are these little spaces in between the vertebral bones. They act as shock absorbers, they're made of fibrocartilage. And essentially what there is, there's a central part called the nucleus, which is a jelly-like material surrounded by an outer ring of fibrocartilage. Now, what tends to happen with a slip disc or a disc injury is this sort of illustration here. The disc starts to herniate, so you sometimes might hear the phrase herniated or slipped, protruding, disc herniation, disc protrusion, those sorts of things. But the danger is what can happen is that can be a source of pain directly in the back itself, but also it can cause pressure on the nerve next to the disc, and then in that case that nerve is called a nerve root that joins up to form the sciatic nerve, which is this big nerve that comes out through the buttock or the pelvis, goes down the back of the leg, and if that gets irritated, that's when people have acute sciatica, so pain raging down the leg, nerve pain shooting down the leg. Sometimes won't even feel it in the back at all. Now, if we're talking about prevention and management of disc injuries in the lower back, there's one or two things which are very important that I would highlight to people. So, the first one is stability. Okay, so you might hear this term core stability or spinal stability, and what we're looking at there is the vertebral bones in between can kind of keep one stacked on top of the other. Okay, so they stay nice and stable, and there's no kind of grating or grinding, shearing force going on. When that starts to happen, that's when those discs can over time get injured, and if they're already injured, that can irritate the disc. Second thing is posture. Okay, now if we think about that lower back and the shape that lower back makes. So in an ideal world, most of the time the lower back should be a slight curve inwards. Okay, so a slight concavity, we call it a lordosis. And really when you're lifting particularly, we generally want to keep that lordosis in that shape, that slight curved inwards shape. What tends to happen when people are, let's say they're bending and they're flexing, if you've already injured the disc particularly, you tend to get this sort of thing. So if I was to sort of slouch forward and slump forward and lose that posture, I don't know if you can see that here, but the disc would end up doing that. Okay, so you see that little bulge that comes out just here? And that really is an illustration of what a slip disc looks like, and it can hit on that nerve next to it. So as you imagine that, it's like that jam donut scenario. If you squash, if you slouch and slump, and you flex forward, you tend to squash all the jam out the back of the donut, and that's kind of what can happen. So one of the most important things is when you're lifting that you maintain this slight arch in the lower back, and there's some exercise that we can do for that to try and train your body to do that. But the second thing is, and this is the thing that people get most often injure their back. So the number one, one of the top ways in which people can often injure their back is it's not really on the big heavy lift. So if they're going to lift a flower pot or something heavy, generally speaking, people tend to brace themselves. They'll keep themselves relatively stable. But it's those little things like reaching, bending down just to pick up your bag where you twist. Okay, and the reason why twisting is such a bad thing is because the outer ring of fibres, mentioned before, the annulus outer ring, the fibres tend to be orientated diagonally. Okay, so one layer is going this way, the next layer is going that way. If you twist, okay, so that vertebral twist, you instantly slacken half those fibres and you stretch half those fibres. So you've weakened your disc wall by about 50% just from the twist. And we don't really want too much rotation or twisting in the lower back, particularly, as I say, when you go to pick up things. And if you've already then, the double whammy is if you've flexed, okay, so you've bent that curve rather than curving inwards, just like you've flexed, curving, convexly, and you twist, then that's when you get a lot of pressure on the discs, and over time that can cause disc injuries. But even if you've already injured the disc, that can be something that can really irritate that disc. So number one thing is making sure you do that. Now the danger point is when people are actually starting to recover from an episode of back pain. So I often say to my patients, as they're starting to recover, they're starting to feel better, I say now you're at your most vulnerable, because what tends to happen is you're forgetting about your back and you're no longer thinking about how you're lifting, how you're twisting, how your posture is. This is the danger point where you go to pick up that bag, you go to pick up whatever that may be, and you just kind of lose that posture and you twist, and then your back, bang, it goes into spasm again, or something happens even worse than that, where you start to feel the disc burst or rupture, and it can then go down the leg. So that's another one of my top tips. Coming back to an exercise, okay, if you had to pick just one exercise, what would it be? Well, my vote would probably be a modified bird dog, sometimes known as a Superman exercise. You're going to be on all fours, and then you do a modified version, or we do a donkey kick version. Okay, so we're then, rather than extending the leg straight back, we do it with a bent knee. That just activates the glute muscles a bit more, fires up these glute muscles, which are all important also in spinal stability and pelvic stability. And we would want to be doing that, as I say, on all fours, set the spine in a neutral curve, tummy pulled in, so you've got the core muscles slightly engaged, transversus muscles slightly engaged, keep the spine nice and still, and it's then raising one arm and then the opposite leg. As a beginner version, we can just do arms and legs singularly, but the ideal would be to then to do opposite arm, opposite leg, and obviously alternating both sides. The reason why it's such a great exercise is it's co-activating the tummy muscles, the oblique muscles, the trunk muscles with the back muscles as well. So you're getting a big bang for your buck in terms of hitting kind of three elements. You're getting AP stability, rotative stability, and you're hitting all those three main muscle groups, which are involved in that stability and keeping the spine nice and healthy, nice and strong. Okay, so I hope that was useful. Hope you found that really helpful. If you did, please leave some comments, leave me a thumbs up. Let me know what else you might want to see, other things you want to see on this channel. This video came literally from somebody making a comment. They wanted me to do this sort of video, so here it is. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you can. Put on your notices as well, obviously, so you get a notification of any new exercises I put out. If you do want to go the whole hog and you want to look at a full, structured, progressive core stability program, that's over on the website, injuryfitpro.com, and I've got my Core Zero to Core Hero program, which you can download from there. There's also some free versions and free other kind of mini exercise plans on that website as well for back pain, but also other parts of the body. So check back soon, and I hope to bring you some more useful videos in the near future.